Good morning, fellas, and welcome back to Me Plays Games, where we play games. My name is Matt, and today I'm continuing my series about speedrun techniques in every main series Mario game. For this video, I decided to give New Super Mario Bros. For the DS a look. Leave a comment letting me know which game you'd like me to look at next. It's good for the YouTube algorithm. The current world record for New Super Mario Bros. Is 22 minutes 35.833 seconds by a British player named Spicy Noodles. He helped me out with a ton of questions I had with this run, which I very much appreciate. Link to his channel is in the description. I also got a bunch of help from the members of the New Super Mario Bros. Series speedrunning Discord server. Shout out to everybody there as well. Alright, let's get started. Like the last game we looked at, Super Mario Odyssey, we can take advantage of the system clock for a trick early on in the run. For this game, Spicy Noodles is using a new Nintendo 3DS, and he sets its clock to midnight on January 1st, 2000 before each run. This is part of an elaborate RNG manipulation, or RNG manip for short, that'll come into play in 1-2. During 1-1 though, you'll notice that sometimes he'll go for a triple jump after double jumping, but other times he'll go for a crouch jump. This is also a part of the RNG manip. On the world map, there are red blocks that will hover over levels at random. These blocks will spit out a random power-up, so the goal is to manipulate it in such a way that it not only lands on 1-2 when you finish 1-1, but you also want a specific power-up, the blue shell. This power-up turns you into a Koopa Troopa, and you can go into your shell whenever you run. This is also going to be important shortly. The odds of getting what you need from this block are about 1 in 6 without manipulation shenanigans. It's a 50-50 chance you'll get the block on 1-2, then a 1 in 3 chance you get the blue shell. Unfortunately, the RNG manip won't work the same for everybody because it also depends on the console's MAC address. That means that finding a consistent setup does require a lot of trial and error. If you don't do the manipulation correctly, you'll have to stop by the Toad House after taking the secret exit in 1-2, which wastes about 17 seconds, and that basically ends the run if you're going for a world record. In order to get the manip to work, you need to perform a certain number of double jumps in 1-1, so crouch jumps are used to get to the ground faster than if you do a triple jump, allowing you to do more double jumps. 1-2 is also where we see the first use of the quick slide glitch, or QSG for short. Shell Mario's top speed is actually about 8% slower than Super Mario's top run speed, but by running off a platform, rolling your thumb from right to left while you're in the air, then holding right again, you'll be in your shell, but you'll have Super Mario's run speed. This will be used a few more times while we still have this shell. While we're here, there's something of note with the flagpoles in this run. When you grab a flagpole, there's normally an animation where Mario or Luigi turns around to the other side, but if you're facing left when you jump into the flagpole, that animation will be skipped because they're already facing left. This saves a couple of frames per level. Next up is the tower, which contains another secret exit. The vertical levels in this game are generally more difficult than the horizontal ones, and there will be a handful of those in this run. In the first half of the level, the blue shell is used to bounce off walls, but that's not the main reason you have to get it. Just after the checkpoint, there's this door at the top of the shaft to the left. Through the door is a handful of blocks that Mario or Luigi can only break with a shell. Smash through those, as well as another set blocking a pipe, and that's basically the end of World 1. The secret exit to the tower unlocks a cannon level that skips 3.5 worlds and brings you straight to World 5. In the rest of the game, there's also RNG with the movement of the Hammer Bros and the question blocks on the world map. The less they move, the better, because you can't move while they do, which can wind up costing a couple of seconds. 5-1 and 5-2 are fairly straightforward levels, but after the checkpoint in 5-2, it's time for another secret exit. This green pipe hanging from the ceiling will warp you to a hidden flagpole that unlocks a warp pipe that takes you past the tower and into World 5-3. You'll notice that Spicy Noodles stops for a second to jump on a Koopa Troopa and throw its shell. This is a technique called hyperspeed. In his own words, throwing the Koopa shell in 5-3 is done to get a lot of speed. If you enter the blue shell on a slope, at the end of your throwing animation, you get a ton of speed. This speed can be kept by holding neutral on the D-pad and by doing frame-perfect jumps. It's more forgiving on slopes, but still tight. Next up is the Ghost House, another vertical level where we'll be taking another secret exit. When you get to this part of the level, there's a hidden block containing a vine. After killing the bruiser and entering the door it was guarding, you're taken to a secret room where you just kinda have to wait around for the platform to move up to the door that takes you outside to the secret exit. This exit unlocks a cannon that takes you to World 8, so in less than 8 minutes, Spicy Noodles is already in the final world of the game. This world has a whopping 12 levels though, all of which are mandatory, and there's some pretty difficult ones in there too, which, you know, is to be expected from the last area of a game, but still. 8-1 is a fairly simple level though, just jump over and over and over to avoid going into your shell, since you have more control over your movement and you can jump on enemies when you're not in your shell. The next level has a technique called Fast 8-2, which is this double jump here that Spicy Noodles gets on the second try. According to him, when you exit your shell, unmorph, on the same frame your Y velocity is exactly 0, you get a jump. It happens due to an exploit in one of the shell's mechanics. When you unmorph at the edge of a ledge, you get a small hop, and the way the game checks for this is to see if your Y velocity is equal to 0, which can also occur at the peak of your jump, which is what is done here. To get this trick in 8-2, what we call fast 8-2, you have to release your jump input at the exact frame to get Y velocity 0. We don't have to worry about unmorphing on the same frame because the setup we use where we wall kick off the pipe and enter shell before jumping will automatically unmorph you at your jump's peak, so no need to time it. So since there's a small ledge right by the entrance to this area, we can take advantage of this trick. This is one of the weirder strats in the game for sure. Unmorphing is also important in other levels like 5-1, 8-1, and 1 tower, because while you're in your shell, you're not able to jump on enemies or stop yourself from hurtling straight into spiky walls. Like I mentioned before, you also have more control over your jumps, which is important because you can't triple jump while you're in your shell. Next up is the first of 2 towers in World 8. Spicy Noodles picks up a fire flower here, which for whatever baffling reason goes into your reserve if you're already Shell Mario. The only way to get rid of the shell is to take damage or die, which is a really weird design choice, but that's not what this video is about. That's a rant for another time. Anyway, after beating Bowser Jr., it's on to a few more levels before the first castle. 8-3 is another level where the blue shell comes in handy. For whatever reason, it also lets you swim faster, which, you know, is definitely something the Koopa Troopers are famous for. The first half of the level is vertical, you just have to swim up as fast as possible. The bonk on the ceiling here was a mistake though, so there's about a second that can be saved in this part. The second half is a long horizontal slog to the end. There's an eel chasing you, but you can easily outswim it, so who cares? Once you get back above ground, it's actually faster to turn around and wall jump off the pipe, since that lets you accelerate to top speed faster than just running. Another thing to note here is that Spicy Noodles intentionally takes damage here because the blue shell is no longer useful. For the rest of the run, he'll be using fire flowers, and yes, I said fire flowers, plural. We'll get back to that in a few. In 8-4, Spicy Noodles equips the fire flower while running through the level, which is possible to do without slowing down, because for a brief moment you'll be high enough on the screen to pick it up right away. If this platform were lower, you'd have to come to a complete stop, get the fire flower, then start running forward again, which would obviously be much slower. It's worth noting here that some players will intentionally take damage at the end of this level instead of 8-3, and then do this one as Shell Mario, but that's less common. A problem you might run into because of the moving platforms in this level is a pixel stop. Sometimes when you land on one of those platforms, you'll just lose all of your momentum. There are ways to combat this, but this is the main reason some runners will keep their shell for this level, since when you're morphed, pixel stops don't occur. Next up is the castle, where the theme is using switches to move platforms around on tracks. Or not. Now time for an epic battle with Dry Bowser. Or not. 8-5 is pretty straightforward as well, but the fire flower comes in handy here because you can use it to get rid of enemies in your way. The wall jump acceleration trick is used again here at the end of the level. 8-6 is just generally difficult since it's a vertical level, then it's on to 8-7. About a quarter of the way through the level are these ledges that are kind of the worst thing in the universe. They're incredibly slow to climb on, so you'll want to spend as little time on them as possible. After the checkpoint, there's a block containing a star. Not only does it make you invincible, but it also makes you run faster, so even though it takes a while to hit the block, it winds up being worth going for in the end. 8-8 is an absolute meat grinder though. The volcanic debris is random, so you just kind of have to hope you don't get hit by any. Halfway through this level, there's a hidden block containing another star. By this point, the rest of the level is usually free, but it's possible that you hit the block and a rock destroys it before the star comes out. It's okay to get hit once during this level, but you do have to waste some time in the next level getting a power-up if you do. Speaking of which, the second tower is based around snake blocks. Spicy Noodles goes for this fire flower, which I thought was just a failsafe just in case you got hit at some point in the final 2 levels. Snake blocks move pretty slowly, so why not take the time to give yourself a safety net, right? Yeah, I was wrong. About a quarter of the way through the level, he just ditches the snake blocks and damage boosts all the way to the checkpoint, then promptly dies. Yeah, what do you know? Didn't expect an intentional death to be part of the run, but there's only one snake block in the whole level, and it's long gone by this point. So it's actually faster to die, re-enter the level so the snake block spawns by the checkpoint, equip a fire flower, then move on. He grabs another fire flower on the way to Bowser Jr., but this one he actually does collect just because he can. Anyway, one quick Bowser Jr. battle and it's on to Bowser's Castle. Since Spicy Noodles entered this level as Fire Luigi, he can use his extra hit points to strategically damage boost through certain obstacles to get through the level faster. Usually the final fight is a 2-on-1 against Bowser and Bowser Jr., but Luigi said that's lame, so he just jumped off Bowser Jr., over Bowser, then hit the switch to kill 2 birds with 1 stun. 2 turtles with 1 switch, whatever. There's also a pretty sneaky RNG manip going on here. By doing a certain series of jumps in the chamber leading up to the final fight, you can manipulate the RNG in such a way that Bowser Jr. doesn't give you a death stare, which would waste some time. The jump on top of Jr. and over Bowser is a pretty difficult strat called Bowser Jump though. If you don't get it, you have to spend about 30 seconds actually fighting them. So once again, it's pretty much mandatory for the world record. So that's basically every technique used in the new Super Mario Bros. World record. There is another strat in World 8's second tower where you can store a triple jump to get up to the final door with a crouch jump, but I don't think it saved any time in the world record. Once again, huge shoutouts to Spicy Noodles for helping me with my script. He's only got 87 subscribers, so go show him some love as well. The people in the new Super Mario Bros. Speedrunning Discord were super helpful too. If you're interested in speedrunning this game or any of the other new Super Mario Bros. Games, I'd highly recommend joining their server. That should be in the description as well. I'd also like to give a quick shout out to Yipley. He's a former world record holder and he's got a series on his YouTube channel going over the entire game level by level and teaching you everything you need to know to run the game. Those videos were great for clearing up things like how exactly the blue shell manip works, as well as the pixel stops in 8-4. Definitely check out his channel if you want to learn more about how to speedrun the game. As for my channel, once again, let me know what Mario games you'd like to see me talk about next. I do plan to talk about other games and their speedruns once I'm done with all the Mario platformers, so you can leave other suggestions down there as well. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. If you're new, subscribe to Me Plays Games for more content like this. We also do Let's Plays, reviews, and general gaming discussions. Alright, good night fellas, sleep well.